Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to No Fatwas Given podcast. I am Saad, and Ahmed, Fahad, and Ahsan are here with me as my co-hosts.
Walaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A lot's happened the past week, primarily in Syria. I mean, we kind of knew about this. We talked briefly about it last week, but a lot's happened on that front. In other news, but I want to start a little bit lighter. Before we get to Syria, let's start a little bit lighter. UFC 310 just passed, and then even more cool, UFC 311, right?
Just got announced. Yeah.
Just got announced in what, I think January 18th? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we should talk about Syria first, but yeah, I mean, Shafqat destroyed the guy. Oh, not destroyed, I would say. I thought his performance was fine. He almost got choked out completely. Did you see it?
Nope.
Yeah, it was like a okay fight. He was winning, and at the last end, he got a rear naked choke on him, and he was just surviving, barely surviving. He almost lost, but he didn't tap out or anything. He just waited, and he eventually got out of it. But he did win, and he was 100% better performing than him. But now I think Bilal can take him easily.
Most probably.
Bilal Muhammad.
I think his ground game is just much better, and
Yeah,
that's
Bilal
what's going to
Muhammad's
be.
gonna beat him. I think handily. Anyways,
But
yeah,
more exciting is 311. It's going to be Islam Makhachev headlining the fight against what's his name?
Arman
Sarukian.
Sarukian. And then Umar Nurmagomedov is going at Merab. So they're both going for title fights. Islam's already a champion, but Umar Nurmagomedov, he's Habib's cousin.
Right.
He's lightweight. He's fighting for the title. He basically tweeted the current champion so much that you're avoiding me. He gave him the fight.
So
Yeah.
what title is this?
This is for the
bantamweight.
Bantamweight, which is like the
I think it's like
second lightest.
135 pounds or around
135
135 pounds, something like that. Yeah. And, okay, it's going to be pretty cool because here's the thing.
Unfortunately, it's on his shadi. His
Walima day.
What's the unfortunate part? The shadi or
No, because it's
happening that
the
night.
event is taking place in LA.
You know what's crazy?
We could have gone and saw it.
He was actually down. She was like, hey, let's go watch it. I'm like, no, unfortunately, it's on January 18th, the date of his walima. And so now we can't go.
Yeah, so we can go. Anyways, he's getting married, so
There's
that's
that.
good. There's that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. The other thing to announce that we'll probably cover it at some point. Maybe we'll do a live. I don't know. I was thinking about it. Mohammed Hijab is doing a MMA debut. You know Mohammed Hijab?
Hijab is doing an MMA debut?
Yeah. So it's in.
Yeah, he all the time he calls out people to fight.
He does. But there's something called in UK called Ummah. It's UMMA.
This is Ummah 3.
Ummah 3. So
apparently?
they've already done 2 events, but Hijab is debuting on that his first MMA fight. It should be interesting. It'll be fun to see.
Maybe I'll watch it. I think we should buy the pay-per-view and see
We'll
how it
buy the pay-per-view and watch it. We won't use a Russian
I have a
link.
question for you.
goes. Russian.
You were gonna go watch an MMA fight with your wife.
Yes, that was the plan.
It wasn't too brutal for her.
No, she loves this stuff.
MashaAllah.
Okay. Anyways, let's move on to Syria.
What's up?
Yeah.
You look
Next
all
thing, I just
confused.
wanted to get that out of the way because it's hard to, now the series is a bigger, longer conversation. And last time we talked about, at least on my side, I was like, look, I don't know who to go for, but in general, this is what I noticed on my end. The public opinion, and for good reason, right? The general public opinion I've seen, but I've seen both on Twitter, right? When someone says something against us, people are like, oh my God. But it's basically like this. No one likes Assad. He's been a dictator for a long time. His father before him, right? They committed multiple massacres
How
on
many
the
years
people.
total, Ahmed? Like 54?
His Assad family has been ruling for 50 years. Yeah.
54.
Yeah,
Some
and they were
50
both
around.
terrible. And it turns out his son was worse than the father, right? Doing terrible things. Almost every Syrian has family or knows someone. Just like you meet a Palestinian who talks about Gaza, says they know someone who's been hurt, killed by the IDF, and so on and so forth. Similarly, in Syria, same thing. Every single Syrian knows somebody who's been hurt by Assad and that regime. And so people are like, okay, look, it's a win that he's going out. And then the other side, that's what I've seen. For the most part, the other side is, this is going to cause instability, and this is what Israel wants. This is what Israel wants. How can you side with what Israel wants? And this is the dichotomy that I've seen.
Look, I think, simply put, you go for the people. Even like you were saying in Gaza, right? At the end of the day, extracting them would be nice, right? Why the people of Gaza suffer? Open the border, get them out of there, right? Yeah, we want to see Palestine, and yeah, they don't want to give up their homes, but for the people themselves, to save the people. Same thing with the Assad regime. Right now, whatever happens later, I mean, this is they plan, Allah plans. We always are optimistic, but you see the Syrian people. Honestly, I was very happy, and now I'm even more happy after hearing about who the Alawites are, who the Nusayris are. They're not even Muslim. So they're like far, like even the Shias don't consider them Muslim, right? They're that far off. They're pretty much considered extremists by both Shias and Sunnis alike. But so for the last 50 something years, and I unfortunately, this is on me. I did not know what was the situation, like how bad it actually was. You know, right now I saw the videos of these rebel groups. When they took over the Khalid bin Walid's mosque. Adhan for the first time. I'm like, for the first time? What do you mean for the first time? I just realized they haven't been giving adhan there. The regime has stopped the adhan. They stopped the practice of religion. I was hearing another podcast where I found out from the people living there, they had ledgers of people come to the masjid. And they wrote down their names, whoever comes to the masjid for prayers, because these are considered extremists. In fact, if somebody comes for Fajr, it's a special ledger. Like, oh, you're coming for Fajr? That means you must be very extreme. So it was very bad. And also you saw the videos of the people escaping the prisons. They were so happy. And they themselves were claiming, oh, we've been here for 10 years. One guy couldn't believe it. He had no idea what was going on. He's like, what just happened? The regime fell. And he was just like yelling, like, so happy. The women's prison, so full of just women. They're all leaving and leaving. First time meeting their siblings and their brothers and their fathers. It is 100% a happy moment. Now, of course, hopefully this happiness continues. That's where the cautiousness
Well, apparently, what I don't know nothing about the case, but I met some Syrian people, and one of them was mentioning this Assad family is not Muslim at all. They're not Syrian. First, they're not true Syrians. Apparently, I don't know what that means, but they're not real Syrians, and they're not Muslims.
They're Alawites, yeah.
Yeah, so I just actually, again, I don't know this. I just recently heard a recent lecture by Yasser Qadi, and he said, I'm not a political guy, so I'm not going to talk about the politics, but I'll tell you the history of who these people are. So apparently when the Arab revolts, the initial revolts happened, and Russia came in and they supported the Assad regime. Assad regime was not going to survive, but it was the Russian forces and the other forces, they supported him, and they gave him power, and then he took control. All right, that's how they got power initially. It was not on their own basis. They were given power. And this is very normal of the Western countries. They give powers to the minority groups who are fringe. And these people are the most fringe in terms of even Shias consider them extremists and the Muslims do. And Yasir Qadhi, just a very brief idea of who they are. They were offshoot of the 12er Shia. So after the 11th Imam, the 11th Imam, Sunnis basically say the 11th Imam never had a son, right? So there was no 12th Imam. They say that there's a hidden Imam. He had a secret son. But either way, one of the students of the 11th Imam was somebody by Nusayr. And he started the Nusayri movement. And essentially what it became is they have some radical... So there's imams, like all the Shias have imams, right? These people believe, there's the only group that believes that the imams actually have divinity. So they're not just like, people who don't commit sin or anything like that. There's something special. No. These guys, they have some form of divinity. Furthermore, they're
mutants.
The ideology and this stuff developed. Apparently, they were a very small group. They came to Syria, and their entire basis is Syria. I think they're total like 1 point something million. Mm-hmm. And they're all actually from one region where Assad is from. And they comprise 70% of that region. And so the entire Assad regime and the family and the people who are ruling over them, they're all actually Alawites. One of the other beliefs is that they believe in a trinity.
One other quick point.
Yeah.
Those Alawites are mostly concentrated on the coast, I believe.
Yes, the coastal.
And that's the area which I don't think, as of right now, the rebels have conquered yet. So the area the rebels have conquered is mostly the Sunni areas, but the coastal area, that's where the Alawites are. And right now, that's still under the old government control, under the Assad rule. I don't know what's happened so far, but from last I checked, that's what's happened.
But what makes them really first of all, they believe in divinity. They have actually, because they actually came to Syria, these few followers, they actually converted the local population, Christian population. So their religion is actually a mixture of Christianity, Gnosticism, Farsi, and all this stuff. They have like just weird rules. For instance, one simple thing is they believe in the Trinity, but their Trinity is Ali is actually a God on earth. And the other part of the Trinity is, I think, Jism or something. He basically Ali selected Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to be that.
Yeah, I think Man, Islam,
And then
there was one other
Salman, really interesting. The third part of the Trinity is Salman al-Farsi.
thing. Yeah.
Really weird, strange. But they also believe that Imams all have an aspect of divinity in them.
That's strange.
So again, even the Shias consider them like completely French. So all in all, these guys are not Muslim. So the idea people are like, the Assad region fault. These people are Syrians. Sham, they were under non-Muslim control. So we are happy that it's back to Muslims, whatever kind of Muslims they are.
Or not a dictator. Even let's say he was a Sunni Muslim, proper Shia Muslim, whatever you want to call it. Even then, a dictator like this deserves to be removed from power. Full stop. Period. That much we can stand with, regardless. I mean, it helps that now these rebels are Muslim. Sure, I'm not saying that, but in general, Islam stands against injustice. If, let's say, he was a Christian ruler or whatever, some atheist ruler, which he kind of essentially is, very secular, right? Let's say he's an atheist ruler, and we can replace him with a much more just atheist ruler. We would still do so.
We will still do so.
We will still do so. So, as far as Islam is concerned, as far as Muslims are concerned, we stand strongly against
That's why,
injustice,
alhamdulillah,
no matter whether there's Muslim or not.
with the news, I was very happy. I was actually very, very happy this
But the
morning.
thing
when I
is,
was-
most Syrians are happy.
Yes.
As we don't hold any account for Syria. You don't, like you said, you knew nothing about it before this, right?
That's what I'm saying. I did very little.
Same here. The first time I had an interaction with a Syrian person as a Syrian, either they have a business owner in our city. They fled Syria. They're Syrian refugees. They fled Syria. He told me his story, and it was unbelievable when I was hearing him out. I said, "What? This happened? When?" That means we know nothing. What's going on? This media is
I think that's
crap.
just that. Well, if we're just going by the media, we know nothing. But that's our fault. We should know what's happening in the
But
Ummah.
at times you can't.
I know a little bit because a lot of
know
this
the
stuff happened during
reality.
the Arab Spring. When the Arab Spring was happening, the Assad regime, they did a lot of brutal stuff during that time to maintain power, a lot of massacring and stuff like that. That was 2011, I believe. So I recall some stuff around then, but even then, I got to say, my knowledge of, I didn't even know this, that Adhan wasn't happening.
Right.
I didn't even know
Yeah,
that they
that I
weren't really
didn't know.
That
Muslim.
extent I didn't
I
know.
don't know much of this.
The story that he
so,
was telling
yeah.
is one of the stories he was mentioning is how they fled Syria and they went to the borders of Turkey. They literally had to walk over mines, and their guide, they bribed someone because they belonged to a rich family, so they had some money to spend, and they were running, and they said they're like, what, 17, 16, 15? That's the age of the boys, and they had their sisters were in their hand. And the guide said, you have to walk on these paths because the rest is mines. You will explode literally if you walk them. And I was listening, I was like, is he talking about a movie? Is this a movie going on? Because that's literally what but we never thought of Syria and this.
You know why? Because the Turkish refugees, I heard there was Syrian crisis. We're getting Syrian refugees here in our city. Syrian refugees. I don't know why I always equated to the last 10 years, like last so much time, where IS came and basically all this stuff happened.
No,
That's
and
what I
this
thought.
I thought it was ISIS related, but it's not.
This story is actually this is the last 10 years. You're right.
Yes.
This is the last 10 years.
But
where-
apparently this crisis has been going
But
for a
the
long time.
crisis that he was mentioning is that his village was always against the government. So they were from a village which was fighting, basically the rebels who won today. So what happened? His end of his story was they got to Turkey, eventually Erdogan, right? That's a Turkish guy. And Angelina Jolie from the UN came and rescued them and brought them to US.
Jolene.
Angelina Jolie, whoever that is.
Angelina.
I don't know.
that- Yeah, that
I thought you were talking
actress.
about the actor. Wait.
Oh,
Actress, yeah, she's talking about the actress.
She works for the UN. You don't know this?
No, I didn't know that.
She's a UN ambassador.
Yeah, she goes to
okay.
Pakistan. She goes to everywhere. So that lady, that guy met her, and she with the Turkish Erdogan, they finally got them approved visas, everything, and got them to US. And now they're.
He's not talking about Angela Merkel, just in case.
I know,
you're
yeah.
I'm talking
No,
about
but-
spell Angelina.
But like right now, there's this insurgency and all this stuff, right? You think like, why did it happen now? And that's why people are like saying, "Oh, why did it happen now? Oh, is there a conspiracy?" Right? There's a peace treaty happening at the same time.
There is more happening.
Israel gets peace treaty, but you know what? I think there's a positive take on it too. Here's a positive take. This is my take, right? Why is it happening now? Well, it's very simple. Hezbollah has been hurt pretty badly, right? Assad regime, Hezbollah would support. right? Hezbollah has been hurt pretty badly. They're right now retreating. They just made a peace deal. They're retreating. They're going backwards they're strengthening themselves, right? They lost a lot of leadership. So they're going back. They don't want to be another confrontation right away, okay? Russia is so busy with Ukraine. So Iran is kind of handicapped right now. Russia is handicapped. The two people who are keeping Assad regime in power, right? And I think Erdogan made his move. He saw what was happening. This was a move by Erdogan. Clearly, it was by Erdogan because where did they get all their equipment from? They are wearing Turkish-backed equipment.
So it actually seems a little more confusing than that because Erdogan has a Syrian national army which he supports, but his support for the HTS or HTTS, whatever
HTS is just one group,
that's
apparently.
not as direct, and they're at least leading. There's a big coalition of groups, but the Syrian National Army, that's the group that I believe he directly funds.
That's
and
correct.
they were not the ones.
Turkey was actually backing the Assad regime, basically. The Assad
No,
army.
they weren't backing
no.
that. What they wanted, Erdogan wanted Assad to come to the table. He wanted Assad to come to the table and say, let's make a proper peace agreement to solve this issue. But Assad, at least it seems like, was being arrogant. He was refusing to come. Even Russia wanted them to come and have a negotiation.
To get the
refusing.
Syrian refugees back and all that
Just have
stuff.
the Syrian refugees. Let's have peace back in Syria. This is before this invasion happened. Assad did not come to the table. And Erdogan was not giving the go-ahead, it seems like, to the Syrians to move forward. So the timing, this is not him. He's generally been supporting them. But this timing, this sudden rush, this seems like Syrian agency. They thought about this. They pushed forward with this.
But you
Erdogan
can't
didn't
do
want
this
to happen
completely
now.
without a supply chain.
Once it started, he supported them.
But I actually feel...
Once it started, he
Once
supported
he
them.
supported, because he rather them than Assad.
I
But-
bet there's more supporters than just...
No,
Yeah.
no.
Is my
It's
guess.
Well, what you have to
primarily...
see is who benefited, right? That's the most interesting thing. To see what actually happens, like, yes, people are happy, they're on the streets because they've suffered under Assad regime, but who's actually benefit? That's the practical reality. Who benefits from Assad being out? Well, first people is Hezbollah won't get ammunition anymore because if you look at the map, Iran can only get to Hezbollah through Syria.
yeah.
Now Syria is cut off because before Iran used to have militias throughout all of Syria. Now they don't have access to that anymore because the new Sunni rebels, they're not pro
Yeah,
Iran.
the Shias are out.
Yes,
now.
the Shias are out. So now Iran can't support Hezbollah, which Israel is very happy about. Iran has more difficult access to get to the Mediterranean, to get to Gaza. All these things are more difficult now for Iran. So Israel is happy. Second thing is the situation had kind of stabilized. There was a border that was up there. You know, things were not changing so much. There wasn't that much active conflict happening. Now it's open season. And Israel prefers open season.
Religiously, this is a religious thing. This is not like any kind of political. I don't know what's going to happen. The conquest of Jerusalem, the conquest of everything came through Sunni Islam. Okay, they came through people who believed in actual Islam, what we considered actual Islam, and they brought about stuff. Even the conflict with Salahuddin, it was like he had to eventually just take over the Fatimids, right? He had to defeat them in battle. Like the situation wasn't working out because he was constantly being backstabbed by them, right? Mm-hmm. Constantly being backstabbed by them. I think yes, we no longer have Hezbollah support because Hezbollah is an army cut off. Inshallah, we'll be better for it.
I don't know if that's entirely true as far as Salahuddin's concerned.
Well, this
wasn't, because
revolution at least has not helped us at all with the Gaza thing. Like, this change has happened. Either it's had no impact, but definitely no positive impact.
This was my problem with the whole thing in the beginning. Again, I got to say I knew very little about Assad regime and how brutal they were still today and their Islam and whatnot. But because, look, when chaos, when there's instability like there is now, there's been a regime that's been a long time, for better or worse. There's been a regime that's been a long time, that's been there for a long time. It's stable for what it's worth, okay? Now you bring in basically a civil war. That's going to cause instability. And now the latest news, I read this morning or last night, I can't remember. It was basically where Israel, allegedly, again, I don't know. This is not some official news from some proper source. It was Twitter as far as I'm concerned. But they're saying that Israel is now attacking a lot of the military structures of the Syrian army. What was it?
I just read this.
That is official.
I have to look
news.
into it more.
The Jerusalem Post says it themselves.
Okay,
They say
yeah, so that's
IDF
official.
strike Syrian chemical weapons. They placed tanks in the buffer zone. Which, by the way, just to clarify, the Golan Heights was their initial buffer zone. They already invaded Syria and said we're creating this buffer zone, and now they're creating a new buffer zone for their buffer zone. So they're crossing even deeper into Syria with tanks today.
And this was what I was worried about. When I said that I'm not sure if this is a good thing overall, is because now, the borders are going to change. That's what's going to happen from this.
And you look at who's so
Allah knows
happy.
best.
Netanyahu's extremely happy. Netanyahu's on the news saying, like right here, he says it's a historic fall of Bashar al-Assad. And like on Israeli like news sources are saying, oh, he predicted this. Netanyahu said he's going to create a new Middle East. Now we see what he's talking about because they credit him because they say he weakened Hezbollah. Hezbollah was weak, so Bashar al-Assad fell.
But I would take a step back at the same time. I feel like I was thinking through all this, and I'm like, why are we looking this at a lens through what does Israel want? Does this favor Israel? Let's step back for half a second. At least we can say, sure, long term, I don't know how this is going to pan out. Honestly, Israel doesn't, nobody knows. Only God knows how this is going to pan out. But in the short term, we see a dictator fall. We see Syria come back in, hopefully, to the control of good Muslims. And there's a couple things to know. So I was watching this young lady, Syrian. She was talking on the Thinking Muslim podcast. She said some really good things, or interesting things. I didn't realize is they're doing PR. Now it could be just PR, but they're saying that this kind of Sunni coalition of rebel forces. For example, there was a video of a soldier who took down a Christmas tree and burned it or whatever, something like that, and the army reprimanded him. They put back up a Christmas tree.
There was an entire Christian village that was celebrating the fall of Assad, by the way. It's all recorded.
It makes sense. And
Christians are celebrating in front of church.
and so my point is this. So now if this army is truly doing this, meaning because everyone's like, how are they going to treat the minorities? How are they going to treat the minorities?
That's the main thing.
How are they going to treat the minorities? And it looks like, now it could be a PR stunt because they don't want to lose the people. It could be a PR stunt, but so far it looks good. Allah knows best.
So there's two things, right? This whole idea of HTS being just like the primary force and everything else. There's actually a bunch of rebel forces. They basically stopped their beef with each other, right? They said, like, hey, let's unite. Let's all come together and let's do this thing. So there's not one leader. It's not only Jalani or that guy, right? Who's a leader who people have issues with, right? There's many, many other leaders of different groups. And they have power themselves. But the idea is, what I'm hoping from this, and I feel like, a smaller group of people who are in control that are better Muslims than the previous regime, this is better for us regardless.
But people are saying this reminds them of when Taliban took over now.
That's what I was
recently in
exactly going to
Afghanistan.
say.
Because the thing is, Taliban said the same kind of things that these people are saying. They said, oh, we're going to be tolerant.
This time we're going to be tolerant.
We're going to do this. We're going to allow women to get educated. Taliban, on their initial claims, they said we're going to allow women to get educated. That was their initial claims. They were saying all these things.
They still claim that, by the way. Taliban still says they're going to do that. Eventually, it's not a priority.
They say eventually, but as of right now, they don't allow women to get full education, right? But
depending on what kind of education
as
you're
in you
saying.
can't go from
all
elementary
their
school
women
to
are
middle
pregnant
school.
right now.
They're very busy.
They finally got done with war, man. It's been
They
a while.
did, yeah.
But the Syrian government,
knows?
same thing. They're making the promises, but everyone's like, are they actually going to follow through or just PR?
I
Are they just saying?
have another point of view in there. So you were mentioning Netanyahu being happy and saying, we'll do this. All these news elements, especially from Israel source, when it's anything negative, we don't take it. When it's anything positive, we shouldn't take it.
Yeah.
Netanyahu claiming something right now on media, if Netanyahu or Israel claiming they did this XYZ, and you're taking it for face value,
It's also
I
PR stunt, by the
don't
way.
agree with it. Whoever's saying whatever they're doing, this is just news for us, and I see it as a diversion to the main issue that's actually going on in Syria, which is more in a line with what the people are saying there. Because you
I
guys
agree
are
with it.
saying, looking at the people, he just mentioned a YouTube video of Christians being happy. That's the reality of Syria right now. Most likely. Again, we could be wrong. That could be diverging.
There's
as
one
well.
thing to clarify. When America stepped in to overthrow Saddam Hussein, the people were celebrating. People were celebrating.
True.
People were extremely happy, but they didn't know what was going to come. So that's the case. When someone comes, imagine when Biden was there, let's say someone shot
But this is
him.
different. There's a difference
Trump
here.
supporters
There's a huge difference.
Saddam Hussein was still a Muslim.
No. That's not
not
even
the
the No,
difference.
the big difference is America went in by themselves. American forces went in. I'm not saying there weren't some Iraqi forces who helped them out. American forces went in.
That is a
They
difference.
did everything. They caught him. They hung him for the world to see, and then they left. I mean,
By
they
the way,
left.
The reason
Truly
why
left.
that's not a
But
difference is
different.
because we're talking about the people being happy.
I'll tell you
Important
this
thing
again.
is people being happy
No, no,
doesn't
no, no.
predict where it's going to go.
No, but who's right now
Because
controlling the
people
area
didn't
now?
rule.
No.
They didn't leave. They left a vacuum.
let
They
me-
went in, they destroyed, they left a vacuum.
Let me
This
prove
one,
you.
it's not American soldiers or foreign soldiers. It is Syrians who are. It's a civil war between Syrians, not a foreign power coming in and creating a vacuum.
And there's another point.
That's a huge difference.
When you said when Saddam Hussein was killed and captured, people in Iraq were happy. That's again a portrayal coming from media to you by the Americans. They'll only show you the happy people. Even today, if India takes over Pakistan, I'm giving you an example. If there's one village that's happy, the rest of Pakistan is not happy doing that, they'll show you the one village. India will say, see, how happy are the people of Pakistan now?
They're liberated.
Remember,
I agree, but now what's
That's
scary
the
is
point of
they're
view.
doing that right now for Syria. Where
I
are the
agree.
people?
I agree.
That's the thing. They're not showing you
because
any warning
they're not. They're
No,
showing.
there's
We're
a
not taking it from the
difference.
news.
There's a
Social media didn't
There's
exist
a
back then.
difference of the social
Huge
media.
difference. We're
They're
seeing
not showing
it
it.
from the horse's mouth.
Exactly.
Now in Gaza, the reason why Israel can't pull off another PR stunt, that's why the PR's turned against him. Israel's having to do all this stuff and bring actors in to see their curated movies and videos and bring Floyd Mayweather to kiss the wall. All these things they're having to do is just to counteract social media.
You're right. Yeah.
There's a big difference. That's exactly the point of what I was initially making is coming from social media or different villages or personal interactions with Syrian is way different than coming from an article saying Israel is doing this. US is happy for this. US is showing people in Iraq are happy. People in Afghanistan are not happy right now. People living in Afghanistan are very happy right now, by the way.
Oh no! By the way,
Regardless.
they were showing
the
like
rules and whatever's going on in Afghanistan, nobody knows because it's good. The day it's bad, we all will know.
There have been YouTube channels of these white people who like to travel around the world.
Not
Tourists.
white Asians. It's a huge Asian destination right
No,
now.
there was a young white woman, like maybe a middle-aged white woman, I would say. She went to visit Afghanistan. She's like, I'm not sure if it was time. Things like America just pulled out. I had been like 6-7 months and that year. I'm not sure what to do. She went, she visited, and she was like, I have never met a more hospitable people. Yes, when they spoke to me, they looked down. And at first I was like, that's weird. And then it was basically out of respect. She learned that very quickly. Dilli Hussein, as far as if we're just talking about Afghanistan really briefly,
yeah.
Dilli Hussein went to visit. My wife watched the whole thing, but basically he was saying, he asked him like, okay, look, this woman's education is an issue. Like Islam doesn't say women can't get educated. In fact, we promote it for your children's sake, right? And they're like, look, and this is their explanation. I'm going to give you the explanation. Maybe it's a PR stunt because Taliban in the past did not let women get educated. So there's some precedent here.
Or it could just be their views, which is fine to have a view.
Sure. But this is what they're saying. And it makes, for now, some sense. They're saying that, look, we don't have as many schools as before. Americans came, they pulled out, We don't have an infrastructure for even all the men to get education, like higher education, for the men to get jobs. So now if we do a 50-50 and give women 50% of seats or open it up or whatever it is, that complicates things. Right now, look, we do preserve traditional values. They do believe to a great extent that the woman's place is as a mother.
Not
right? And they promote that.
Not traditional values, Islamic values.
True. Yeah, 100%.
You know, in
I
a sense,
agree with
in a
that.
sense that in a sense that the men provide. In a divorce, the men take care of the children. There is a financial responsibility on the men. Let the men
Islam has gender roles.
Yeah.
Let's make things very clear. Yeah.
So you're right. 100% agreed with what you said. Is there's one thing is religious rules, and then Afghanis are very cultural as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay? Even if they did not follow the religion to the core, and we all know there are some ifs and buts with whatever Taliban has followed in past, and
of course.
It's not just Islam. It's also their cultural values. Even today, you go to the northern side of Pakistan, Peshawar, Pakhtunkhwa, women don't get out of the house. They don't. No one's seen women walking around. That's their cultural value. If a foreigner goes into Afghanistan and expects to see women there, he won't find one. They'll all be inside.
And this is going to go back to the Syria, right? The women of Makkah were very different from the women of Medina.
Right.
And anybody who knows Syria, there's very clear differences between the two women.
And Islam allows for culture. Let's make one thing very clear. Islam allows greatly for culture. You can have vastly separate cultural opinions, differences, similarities, and differences, right? Islam allows for all that, but within limits. Now, you cannot ban a woman from doing X, Y, Z,
Right.
but your culture may be like, this is frowned upon. Maybe the woman doesn't want it herself. But if a woman does want it, you know what I'm saying? Like, so times are different. Another thing you brought up that I wanted to bring up that I thought was very interesting. He's like, look, when he keeps talking about where you're getting this news, whether it's the Iraqis who are happy, so where are you getting the news from? And he mentioned that when he said Netanyahu was saying, but he's like, look, that could be all BS. This is just a diversion. That's very interesting because what did I say right in the beginning? My intro, kind of summary intro to our previous conversation was a lot of people are very sus about this because Netanyahu seems to like it.
Be excited about it.
Yeah, and maybe he's right. Maybe that's just diversion. Maybe it's all just BS. Maybe he's actually not happy about it, but he's going to say he's happy about it. And what happens? The Muslim world's like, oh shoot, Netanyahu wants it, Israel wants it, the IDF wants this. It can't be good. And now they're like, so
Actually,
that's
I would
very
take
interesting.
the opposite.
Very
For
interesting.
me, I believe what makes most sense, the reason why they're saying this and why they're putting all this news out is because they're telling the American and Israeli publics what to believe. They don't know. The Israeli public, if you look on like all this Reddit,
Yeah,
and Twitter,
they lie
the Americans are
to their own
confused.
people as well.
The main people are lying to their own
propaganda,
people,
yeah.
and they're telling their own people, here is the correct stance to have. You should be pro this. So both on the conservative side and the Democratic side, they're both saying pro rebel stuff. They're making a narrative for their people to believe.
The other thing
it's not
interesting
really to
is
make us switch one way or the other. They probably
It
think
could
we're
be
gonna-
that too.
It could be
But
possibly.
it's fascinating that Muslims will take the opposite stance immediately. That's worth noting.
but
No, not really, because most Muslims are very pro rebels.
I
Yes,
agree,
they are.
but no, the fact that some Muslims were
Muslims
like,
are always pro rebels.
but imagine this. But the fact that many Muslims were doubting these rebels or were confused about it. I mean, even my own stance was like, I'm not sure if this is good. This could be blah, 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 blah. Comes from things like this, right? There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it comes from the news that we hear.
I think it's also
But-
because we've become a little cynical because we've seen rebels come in other countries and how they only made things worse. So a lot of Muslims are taking what they've already seen and going like, we shouldn't be too happy.
And,
because we don't
and
know where it's
cynicism's
gonna go.
okay. Cynicism's okay.
Which other countries? Like,
Well, like we had the Arab Spring all across the Middle East.
Which is bad.
everywhere it happened, it only brought worse things, right? And people got really happy. And when Taliban actually got overthrown in the 90s, in the early wave, the Afghanis were happy. They were not happy with Taliban in the first wave.
Right.
Same thing in Iraq. So people being happy in this thing.
Although I
we're
want to
watching
mention I won't mention the sheikhs online. I don't want to mention people by name, but typically Salafi, right? They preach against overthrowing government for good reason, right? They say it's not good, it's causing instability. However, for this one, those same people were celebrating it. Just letting you know, FYI. Those same people who typically preach not to overthrow, for this case, specifically this one, because again, that guy was not Muslim.
Because their governments are okay with it.
Because the government, no, this guy,
Which Salafis are
this guy,
talking
I won't say the names, but these guys are a
Probably
little
the
different.
Wahhabi type, right?
But
Usually.
but
They're very pro.
they were okay with this one. Why? I have a feeling because we know that the atrocities completed, and they committed a lot of atrocities, and they weren't really Muslim. I would say banning adhan, that's crazy. That's not in the fold of Islam. Like that is good that they were overthrown. Let the people practice their religion at least, right? They're not going to be able to practice their religion. So I think it's one thing. The other thing you were talking about, like news, like weird news and like kind of different spins on things and why they do it. I've seen a lot of people start talking about the Turkey as the Ottoman Empire this time around, just because of the move that they made with the rebels. That essentially they're saying that Turkey is now operating as a force within the region. They're getting things done. They're interfering with politics. They're interfering with Russia, what's happening here. They're interfering with what happens here, right? Yeah. They are no longer just sitting alone and happy and only trying to get into NATO. They're making things happen.
It's a good point you brought up because I actually think one thing to clear, like a lot of people on like Twitter or whatever, they're like posting these images of Erdogan, like, oh, he's a savior. He did this for the ummah. I don't believe any of that. Maybe I think maybe he's a good person, whatever. But the core thing is,
I'm optimistic, like Sami
he
Hamdi.
believes in his, he believes in the interest of his own country. Okay,
Of course, everybody does.
He's thinking about that, and for him, this is the best move. For him, he had no benefit in Assad staying in power further. He tried, but now that it's started, right? Because otherwise, he would have pushed it earlier. He didn't want this to happen right now, it seems like. But once it started, he supported it. So yes, he supported it. But why did he support it? Because he has a lot of benefit from this kind of thing happening. He gets influence over northern Syria. He gets to send all those refugees, which Turks have been complaining about, he gets to send them back into Syria.
That's true.
He doesn't want the
right.
Kurd. Also, important thing, there's a Kurdish state which controls northeastern Syria. He doesn't like the
No,
Kurds.
it's exactly
and
the
he wants to take them
same
over.
case for, I'm again comparing Pakistan and Afghanistan. As soon as Taliban came back, it became a safer place for the northern Pakistan.
Yeah.
Same thing with Syria and Turkey. Syria has been a problem for Turkey.
Yeah.
They've been sending refugees. How many can Turkey take?
Millions,
You
and they
know,
can't
they
accommodate.
have a problem and they don't want to take in more. Obviously, it's a problem. You're right. Exactly right.
No, so politically, this is a good move for him. He'll get reelected, right?
People will love him for
People love him, right?
already.
But I do think Erdogan, personally speaking, right? Like I think out of a lot of the leaders, there is a lightheartedness towards the good. Now, whether he does it all the time or not, Islam, right?
I would say I agree with
there
that.
is.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he's a leader. He wants to be in power. There's no doubt about that.
He's a politician at his core. Yeah.
Look, politicians in Islam is different, right? You could be a very good Muslim and a politician. You've seen the history of Islam, right? What they actually have done, despite praying the Hajj, doing all this stuff, memorizing the Quran, and they've done some things, right? He's a politician at heart, so he wants to stay in power, right? So he will do maneuvers to get him the vote. But at the same time, I think other foreign analysts have talked about it, that if anybody was kind of pushed to shove and kind of made a sudden decision of the heart, it would be Erdogan out of all the leaders,
Maybe.
right?
But what's one interesting thing is someone told me recently, Erdogan has the values of Imran Khan, except he also has the political tact, right? He's Imran Khan done right, because Imran Khan has all the ideas, but he's a terrible politician. Very naive. He believed the generals. He did all the things. Morsi was even worse. He's already dead. At least Imran Khan hasn't got to that point. But maybe that's Sisi instead of Bajwa. But the point is, you have Erdogan. He brought in that Islamic vision the same way Imran Khan did.
A revival.
Except Erdogan executed it because he was ruthless. He knew how to get his way. And he's an expert, like you were saying. He's a career politician. He knows how to do it.
I mean,
he started off gradual. He wasn't super
Sheikh
Islamic.
Yasser Qadi has an excellent talk on the reality of Salahuddin Ayyubi. And this is very reminiscent of what we're talking about exactly right now. He's like, look, Salahuddin Ayyubi was a politician. We all remember him in a very fanciful light, that he was a scholar and everything. No. I mean, he ordered assassinations. He played a political game. He went to the Fatimids, took over.
That he ordered. He's like, it seems like he was careful.
Almost certainly he did. Like he almost certainly did. All right. And the reason I say that is because I was watching Salahuddin Ayyubi Turkish
Sheikh
series,
Saad
and that
he
he
did.
straight up ordered assassinations. But
Sheikh
that is
Saad
like-
is saying he did.
yeah,
Well, no.
Look, my point is, look, he was a
Don't
politician.
get your history from
I'm not. But maybe I said it like fact because I watched the Salahuddin Ayyubi drama. But anyway,
Clearly, it's coloring your.
Yeah.
I stopped watching. It was like too off script. But anyway,
Remember, he was a Kurd, and Turkish have some things against him.
but my point is,
Kurds are not
politicians
Turkish.
are
That's what they're
politicians.
saying.
Do not expect politicians to be saints, no matter how knowledgeable or learned they are.
Just on that
They're
point, 'cause a lot of people
politicians.
don't know, because he mentioned, but he didn't say. There's like a lot of very convenient things with Salahuddin Ayyubi, where he came to Egypt. The guy who was first in command very conveniently dies. And Salahuddin Ayyubi is his perfect successor. And then, very conveniently, lots of his political enemies often very quickly die. Okay, and he's apparently busy praying and doing studies. And then at the same time, Fatimid Khalifas are very quickly dying. So
Imagining like
none
a,
of these
a
are-
Hollywood style slow mo. Salahuddin Ayyubi is going to sajda. He's standing up for his next rak'ah, and one by one, all his enemies
dying,
are dying in their homes.
So there's a lot of convenient deaths, and everyone's like, this is not a coincidence. But we don't have any proof that he killed them. It just, they seem like...
Well, at the end of the day, look, we don't have to look at Salahuddin Ayyubi's life. You see a lot of other leaders who prayed, who fasted, who memorized Quran, and the other did a lot of things outside of the scope of Islam. Like we would not condone, right? Being a politician is not easy, right?
Politics is dirty. We talk about
dirty,
this.
yes.
Dirty game.
So I feel Erdogan is one of the better politicians that we have in the Muslim world.
I'll bring up what Sami Hamdi says about this. Sami Hamdi, he said this many, many times, right? And the way he says, because he's he's like a political commentator and he does these things. If you heard him right, it's awesome. But one thing he said about this, and he always does it, he gives him so much benefit of the doubt. He's like, Erdogan said this about Gaza, but I think in his heart he meant,
Yeah.
Like, he does this all the time.
I would say I would also give him benefit for the doubt.
I agree.
Anyone
Being
who's been to
optimistic.
Turkey would give benefit of the doubt, because if you go to Turkey, like we
I
went
love
to
Turkey.
Turkey with my family, like in
I
2000
love
something.
Turkey. I love
You go
Turkey.
there, we saw maybe 1-2 hijabis, and we talked to them like, and they said,
When did you go?
We went. What year did we go? I forgot. When we went that
Yeah.
time. Yusuf was born. What year was Yusuf born?
Oh, dude, that's like a long time ago. That's
What-
11,
yeah.
10,
it's
11
almost
years.
11 years ago.
Yes, 11 years ago we visited. We saw one or two.
By the way, it's
I know.
completely
I'll tell
different
you,
now.
that's what I'm telling you. We saw 1 or 2 hijabis. We talked to them. They say, recently there's been a lift in restrictions because of Erdogan. And actually, Erdogan was elected mayor of Istanbul first, by the way. So you see his impact directly. And they say we're allowed to wear it in universities. We're allowed to do adhan and like all these things, right? And we're like, 90% they're not wearing hijab, at least in Istanbul. But then now you go recently, and how was it like right now?
There's so many hijabis. They have an entire modest mall dedicated. You go there, like
A modest mall? That's
yeah,
what it's
the
called?
entire place is full of hijabis, right? Police officers, hijab. And then I looked up online, like you were saying,
Male police officer.
women, with hijab. They have part of the uniform. So I looked online.
LGBT.
I was like,
That
that's
plus, baby.
a bit too much.
Within 10 years, I don't know the exact dates. Within 10 years, they allowed university students to wear hijab. they allowed I forgot what the other one. They allowed police officers to wear hijab, right? And this happened one after the other. This is the police officer thing was very recent. They allowed them to wear hijab. I saw them wear hijab when we were in the old town next to the Hagia Sophia. Like this Bugatti police, but it was a Bugatti.
Very nice cars. I agree.
Bugatti police car came up. I looked inside. 2 hijabi police officers sitting in there.
No way.
I was like, and they were
hilarious.
like doing their thing. I'm like, what is happening? But so many, by the way, I saw hijab everywhere. And it's in Istanbul.
But like, are you married?
It is.
It's in Istanbul.
By the way, that's 11 years of Erdogan's
No.
rule.
By the way,
Right there,
No, no,
when I
but
visited
I
The
would say it's
most-
both. I would
the
say it's
most liberal.
top down and bottom up. The Islam that's coming to Turkey, I would say is partially grassroots, meaning the people want Islam back. There's no doubt about it. Otherwise, Erdogan wouldn't have the
I
support.
went to the
and top down, meaning Erdogan somehow he got there, politics right at its finest, and is going top down as well. So that's what's happening
but you
so
can see
rapidly.
the love. You can see the love of Islam. I talked to this guy. Like a lot of people, they're not like completely in Islam yet, but they have a love for Islam, right? Taxi driver. I'm like, oh, what's your name? He's like, my name's Ahmed, and he proudly tells me, did you know that Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's other name was Ahmed? This is not that big of a.
I mean, it's basic knowledge.
basic knowledge, but you could see that they had the pride in it,
No,
right?
You see the difference. We all saw Urtugul, right? He introduced Urtugul to core houses. Even some knowledge of how they became what they became, Ottoman Empire, and the Muslim.
And Ertugrul was like a
as-
fine Muslim.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. No,
really
the
good.
Muslim
drama.
aspect.
In the drama.
Some hadiths here and there. Slowly he brought this Islam slowly to them through their TVs, through the word.
Which is a lesson, which is a
amazing.
lesson, because all these regimes that come in, like, oh, we're going to bring Islam. Everyone has to look at what Erdogan did.
Yeah.
He took a country
That's
that was
real
fully
propaganda.
secular.
Think about it.
This is propaganda.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
propaganda is fine. It's like
Ertugrul is
correct propaganda to bring Islam
No, but-
back.
Very good.
But you see today, you see all the actors of Urtugul, right? They're all modern, ultra modern. Like we can't even Pakistan was a modern society, but when you look at Turkey and their actors, the female actors, you're like, wow, this is Muslim. These are the real Muslims.
Where's someone?
All right.
Have you seen the Turkish actresses? Wow.
No, what's the guy who came here to?
I've never seen that in
Who's the guy
Pakistan.
who came here? The
Abdurrahman Alp.
Abdurrahman.
Yeah,
That
what's
guy
his
was.
name?
Oh, he's very good.
But when you see them,
He came here.
right after the show, you see these actors, and we've met some, right? This Abdul Rahman, also, I met him, and then most of them actors went to Pakistan. And you see them interview, you see that there's a difference
There's a difference
in them.
in them. Yes.
In them, they see the support.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalal.
No, they see the support that
that
Muslim
Jalal? No, but
community
you-
has given them.
You know what
Through
it is?
this drama, they're showing, and I saw the same thing because there's another actor. His name is Hamda Ali Abbasi. I don't know if you know them. He did a serial called something Sufism, but very Islamic serial, like very religious. And this guy is like anti-painting and no music and XYZ. That was a serial. And right after that, he quit. He quit working.
He quit working. He became more
He
Muslim.
became more Muslim. He quit working for 5 years. He came to US for further education. He met Yasir Qadi. This I'm talking about a Pakistani actor. It makes an impact.
You know what?
And it just doesn't make an impact. So when the icons change, Muhammad Ali is a big example for us, right?
Yes.
When the icons change, like immediately you see a drastic change, their followers start questioning.
It's why you focus on the leadership. It's why you focus on
Junaid
the leadership.
Jamshed,
Junaid Jamshed too.
Muhammad Ali, they changed a lot.
Imagine how many people became more religious because of Muhammad Ali. Most recent example, Habib. There's a lot of people, and I was looking like these there's like a first pillar channel. It's really great. There's some guys there who are giving their
Hussein's channel.
yeah, and they were saying like, oh, I actually found Islam because of Habib. I said, well, what does this man believe in? I want to
But
know more.
what, even more extreme example. Muhammad Ali was vocal about his Islam. Was vocal about God, right? Believing in God. It's the same thing you could say about Habib. Habib is very Muslim, right? He's talking about no interest, no riba, stuff like that now, right? But you could be like, I would bet Dave Chappelle, who does not advertise Islam at all.
He did.
I bet you.
in
Very little.
his
Very
Netflix
little.
show, he
I know,
did.
very little. Very
I was
little.
so surprised, and I was like, is he the right person talking about Islam?
No, exactly.
He does a good job. He does a good job.
Amazing person talking about
But here's the thing. He doesn't. He says so. He's like, look, I'm not the best model for. I'm not a model Muslim, so I don't advertise my Islam.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I bet you, just by people finding out that Dave Chappelle is a Muslim, he's converted more people than you and I or any of us.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson, by the way, whatever he does, every few years I see him doing Umrah.
Same here. I also think about the same thing.
He does Umrah every few years. Every
now
year
and
or
then
so, like,
I
he's doing
see him.
Umrah.
His pictures for with
Exactly. If people see, oh my God, Mike Tyson's and in Mecca, he's wearing the Ihram, whatever. Dude, they're gonna look into
so
Islam
this article
because
thing is
of
very
that
important because I went to Turkey initially, like again a few years ago, before I went right now recently, and the largest focus they had was what? Who was their hero? It was Ataturk.
Ataturk.
They didn't go beyond Ataturk. Ataturk was their hero. Ataturk was everything. He's the father of the Turks. They changed their entire history. They had like hundreds of years of Turkish history, and they made this guy the father of Turkey.
You know,
They removed the Arabic script.
Yeah.
They went to a Latin
But
script
this
because
is
they
going
wanted to
beyond
remove
moving the
themselves
script.
from
This is
it.
They used to teach us this in Pakistan. The father of Turkey is Ataturk. That's what we
Why?
Modern Turkey. It's true.
I have no idea.
But they
why.
removed hundreds of years of their own history.
Not just remove. Think about it. They can't read their own history. They have all these books and stuff from like
No,
their
but
hundreds
what-
of years.
but
They
what-
can't read that language.
What did
anymore 'cause
Ertugrul
they
go?
changed their language.
The beauty of Ertugrul was they said, oh, you know what? The father of Turkey? Let's go to the real father of Turkey.
Osman, right?
No.
Ertugrul.
They go, no, I thought they called Osman.
That's why they started Ertugrul,
No, they
because then
started-
Osman started.
Yeah.
Let's go to the father of the guy who started it, and then let's go back to our roots.
Islamic.
This is amazing revival, by the way. Okay.
Go.
It's phenomenal. And here's the thing. They're I would say this. So this what? We went in 2015, whatever this was? No, 2014.
We went
2014.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
We went to Turkey.
We went when Yusuf was born. 2000.
Yeah, that was 2014. 2013.
14.
Something like that. Whatever.
No,
11 years ago, 2013. Yeah, 2013. Because he was born, we were in the airport on the way back. Anyway, so when we went to, what I saw about them is a small example, but it shows how they are. We had some kind of tela stand, right? And there was a guy selling these polo sweatshirts, right? With a polo symbol on it and everything. And we're like, that's probably fake. Anyway, so Baba goes in and says, is this Asli? Is this real? He's like, what do you mean real? This is made in Turkey. It's better than real. Like, how dare you?
Yeah,
How dare you even say that this is not real? This is better than real. The
You know,
fact that the
this is-
knockoff is made in Turkey means it's better than the real
This is
one.
a very different,
Sometimes it
very different way of doing it than, like, let's just say Egypt, right? You guys went to Egypt recently, right? When you ask them if it's real,
Very sleazy.
they're saying like, yeah, it's real. They're lying, or they might lie, or whatever. They're trying to get.
And they know.
But the Turkey
Yeah.
guy is like, no. This is better than real.
Well, Pakistan's the
They had
best.
so much pride
I done
in
first
their
copy.
own-
First copy.
ये तो हमें factories उठा के लेकर आए सीधा.
This is true first copy.
But see the pride. They're not even saying it's real. They're not even fighting on that fact. They're saying that since it's made here, it's better than the real thing. That's
But they're proud of their manufacturing.
they're proud.
No, they're proud, which is okay. I mean, we can argue about what the heck nationalism even means as far as from Islamic context, but I think it's a good thing for a country to have nationalism. If you're going to be a country, you need nationalism.
Of course.
Yeah, you need something. Yeah.
I'm a true American.
Proud to be. But
We
yeah.
consider you a Romanian. Rumi is your last.
Well, they put me in jail over there.
White as most white people are, so
Yeah. So I want to ask you though. Okay, this happened, right? You know, we saw something amazing happen with Afghan and the government, the Taliban. What's the new? They're the
Islamic Emirate.
Islamic Emirate, right? It's a beautiful
They
thing
call themselves the Islamic Emirate of
of Afghanistan. That's their actual title, right?
Emirate.
What do you hope from? Okay, so the rebel groups came. They take over a big portion. They have Damascus, they have Aleppo, the two largest cities, and they have a good control of the northern region. What do you hope from this?
From my end, there's an optimistic and then there's a pessimist.
No, but what do you hope from optimism?
Okay, optimistic. Optimistic would be that they're able to form a unity government. They can work with Erdogan to unify with the Kurds, hopefully in a peaceful way, and that all these hundreds of different groups that have all been part of the rebel forces, they're able to form a peaceful coalition, have a nice government, hold a fair and free election.
Become a vassal state for Turkey, essentially. It's just like Japan became a
I don't
vassal
think
state.
that would appeal to any Arab.
No.
country. But,
You don't say that. But Turkey, what did Japan become? Become a vassal state. What did South Korea become for a long time? Vassal state of the USA, right?
Yeah, sign trade agreements, have a defensive pact with Turkey.
Because
right?
look, at this
You can do
point,
things
you
like
are
that.
really good friends with Turkey. And Turkey is not a small power; it's a superpower, right? They have the best, one of the second best or the best drone army in the world. They're supplying them to Ukraine. They're supplying them everywhere. People are buying them off, right? Yeah, but it's such they have real technology.
Also,
right?
as an added note, though, we also in our optimistic thing is we hope the rebels don't say or do anything stupid, right? Like let's hope they don't invade Israel. or they decide to start some other magic, like start a khilafat or something, right? The
Secure
second
the-
there's something
I hope they secure the
they
border
have
and
to make
establish government.
themselves acceptable in the world order. Otherwise, they will never have peace.
Rebels are not
Yes.
doing anything. They're too happy with Syria. They're not moving anywhere.
You hope. I hope.
I'm telling you.
My
this for
optimism
sure.
is this. So look, regardless of how they got there, right? So actually, as we were walking in, I was listening to the leader of the HTS people, the Jolani guy, right? And he was seen an interview with a lady interviewing him, and he's very respectful. And he basically said, she's like, what changed?
When does this interview happen?
Like, I think a day ago. It was like fresh. It's like, so what changed? You guys just conquered Aleppo, and I think she was mentioning Damascus too. So I'm not sure how recent, but it's within the past couple of days.
They just conquered Damascus.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I think this is before that. Maybe it's after. Either way, but it's in the past 2 days or so. And he's like, what changed? We united. That's what changed. He says, before we were fractured, right, all over the place. Now we're united. And she's like, what do you expect? He's like, you'll see. You'll see on the battlefield, basically, what the result of this is.
He means we are United States of America.
Look, no, but
United rebels.
no, but there's something he said, actually, if you look at the history of the United States, how the states came together and stuff, I mean, there was a civil war here, too. There was a civil war. And so, look, sometimes bloodshed needs to happen to remove a regime. It's happened in France, happens in many places. Algeria, name it, right?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh,
More recent.
honestly.
Afghanistan.
It's happening in Pakistan as we speak, kind of.
I know.
Maybe. Look,
Look, you're talking about civil war and a coup. What happened in Bangladesh was a coup. What's happening here is a civil war. And so it's a little scary because the lines haven't settled yet. It's not like there was a peaceful government that existed. That government has now been replaced. No. There were 3-4 different states in Syria, and one of those united with the second one, and together they conquered.
Not just one, second one. I think there's like a bunch of.
Well, as in there was like all these, like if you look at the map, right, there's like this blue area that's like controlled by lots of different rebels, and then there's an area that's controlled by Turkey. Those areas both combined to attack the third area, which is ruled by Bashar al-Assad.
Well, I know this for a fact that whatever news comes out in the next 3 months, especially from USA or Israel, always think the opposite. That's my point of view with Syria right now. If there is no news, that means
something's good happening.
That means very good
something very good is happening. If they're saying too much, that they're achieving too much out of this, that means nothing's happening. They're doing absolutely nothing. They just want popularity votes for themselves. Like, Israel wants something, right? They're showing some victory somewhere. They can't show how brutally they're killing people in Israel.
distraction, right.
This is a pure distraction saying, people of Israel, hey, see, we're winning here as well. So let us beat the hell out of everyone else.
I would say
everywhere
this.
else in the world.
Me and Osama were talking about this earlier, just last
Who?
night.
You and?
Osama.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. That Osama's dead.
Oh.
There's another Osama.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh.
Apparently.
No, he was thrown in the water.
Thrown in the water. Frick. Anyway.
Did we ever post our first episode?
No.
Audio. We did the audio. Osama was on our first audio episode.
No, Osama's also in the video.
Did he?
There's no video.
No, there is one with Osama.
I don't
No,
know.
we never posted it.
But either case, him and me were talking last night. But briefly, we had a very short discussion. But it was like, he's like, look, there's some
Osama
foreign
is our
powers.
cousin, by the way.
Yes. There's some foreign powers that are backing the rebel groups, no doubt, whether it's Turkey or maybe others, America, Israel, whoever it is, right? So now, whoever's backing them, it's like, look, they're gonna be their puppets. That was his point. It's like that's how it goes, right? You back Al Qaeda takes over. Now they're kind of your puppets until whatever you let go. And so, but here's the thing, man. I'm optimistic. Just because someone supplied you arms doesn't mean you're beholden to them necessarily.
Not beholden, but there's
If
ally.
we could choose a puppet for Syria, who's a better candidate than Turkey? Like, I'd rather it not be Iran. We definitely don't want it to be Israel.
The cool thing is
not Egypt.
because
Turkey's the best of
if
these battles.
If Erdogan helps, Erdogan helps these people stabilize at least the regions they control. Of course, we have a issue with the way Assad ran off to and the Golan Heights and all that stuff. But if they allow them to control it, the thing is, up till now, Syria is being a proxy for Iran. Okay, Iran is
Russia.
Yeah, and Russia, and now it could become a potential proxy for Turkey. And Turkey is not somebody to be messed with.
But it seems like this case, back then it was Russia, Iran. Right now it seems like it's going to be America, Turkey. That's the way it's looking. Because they haven't touched the American oil fields. America still controls all the oil fields, and I don't think they're ever going to touch those oil fields.
Yeah, that
America
might be again. Erdogan is a politician. That's something you're literally calling.
I think
somebody
we're
to attack.
overestimating his control on these rebel groups. I think these rebel groups have a lot of agency.
Maybe.
They decide the timing of this initiative, and I think they have a lot of control. He has some because obviously he's supporting them, but in the end of the day, these rebel groups, they might do something, and I think they already have done things which he didn't approve of. Okay.
Of course, nothing's ever like completely
if
perfect.
America is supporting them, I'm supporting them. Oh,
America.
if they have oil field, that means dollars more powerful. I don't care.
All you guys, only him and me could become president. Just so we're clear.
Yeah,
But alhamdulillah, I make
can be
I make dua
natural.
for
First secretary.
On every dollar bill, we'll have S and Sayyid signed.
That's all I want.
I make dua for them. I make dua for them that inshallah that they form a great government. Inshallah they become stable, and they're good for their people, and they form a good front for the ummah.
I mean, may Allah make this government a successful government. May it stay peaceful though. After the civil war's over,
Make it
now that they have
peaceful,
Damascus,
peaceful.
stability and peace is what we want.
The average
We
guy
don't want to
doesn't care about
continue
that.
I want to
or they
hear-
refracture.
I want to hear news just like I heard from Afghanistan where people are touring there. And they're getting video vlogs of them going there. Bike groups are going across and seeing how great Syria is.
You know, in
That's what I
Afghanistan, I
wish.
heard recently, I was reading an article, a Kabul real estate agent was saying that apparently the luxury housing market is booming in Kabul. Because all these
That's
wealthy,
awesome.
he's
That's
saying
awesome.
all the wealthy overseas Afghanis, they want to buy properties. And he was like showing them beautiful houses. And they're not in Kabul. They're like in the rural areas, which before America didn't have good control of. And like we were talking about this earlier, you can't have any economic planning if there's not safety. Like, you know, you're an accountant, you're not going to think forward if you don't have safety. You know, I'm trying to go and like become a doctor. I won't care about going to school if I think I might die, you know, where the school is, or I think by the time I graduate, maybe there's gonna be another war. You can't think forward unless there's safety, and Taliban has brought safety. So that's something really big.
Well, if Syria survives, then we have another place to go for vacation. Syria, right?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, but there's so many of them. Right now, Bosnia, a lot of the guys went to
We
Bosnia.
can't
and
even.
stuff
We
recently. It's
wouldn't
really
be able to
beautiful.
go to Syria before. Now, maybe.
Now, probably
if,
not
if
still.
America takes over and cleans it up,
Yeah, I mean, it took
completely.
Afghanistan a year or two.
or
so
Turkey takes
might be
over
a while
Syria
still.
and then revive everything. It must be a good vacation spot.
I'm optimistic. Cautiously, it's called cautiously optimistic.
You know what is the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan now?
Bad. Very bad right now.
There's no news again.
Wait,
No, it's negative because
didn't
they
they kick
expelled
out
all
all?
of-
Yeah, they expelled all the Afghanis recently.
So that's the last thing I heard as well, and that's been 2 years ago. And ever since there's no news,
It
which
seems
means they're
like-
not coming back.
Yeah.
Well, the
So-
current,
And it
the
seems
current
like,
leadership is not that great. So I mean, whatever they're doing.
Again, I don't know
probably
if
harmful.
it's all the Pakistanis' fault or Afghani's fault, but at this point, it's both
It
ways.
seems like America is pushing the current Pakistani
Yes.
government to do anti-Taliban things.
Right.
I don't think Nawaz Sharif or any of them really care that much to do anti these kinds of things.
Nawaz Sharif isn't doing squat.
Whatever, like we're just saying, he's a puppet. But
I
the
don't
people
think they
behind him,
have
the
control,
generals, I
honestly.
think it's America telling them do this, do this, do this.
No.
They want to piss off. The Americans probably thought that 2 million Afghanis would weaken Taliban. Taliban's dealt with it.
But do you really think America being so powerful could do nothing against Taliban? They expect Pakistan to do anything against Taliban.
They pulled out like they pulled out of
Pakistan's weak,
Vietnam.
regardless.
No,
pulled out of
but
Vietnam.
as Imran Khan said though, these constant asks and requests from the Western world has only depleted Pakistan.
Exactly. So,
Yes.
but even then, right? Even if let's say they were against Taliban, let's say Pakistanis are against Taliban, regardless, right?
You mean the average Pakistani or the government?
I'm saying government, not average
Not
Pakistani.
average
The average Pakistani does not care, to be honest. Average Pakistani has too many other issues to care. They don't care about politics, honestly. I've lived in Pakistan so long, I know. Average Pakistani does not care about neither Imran Khan, nor the Fauji, nor Nawaz Sharif.
I would think Imran Khan seems like they have a
Imran Khan
huge
is
support.
special because his
He has a
support
huge
is higher
support.
than anyone else.
I'm
The problem
surprised.
is-
Imran Khan was a grassroots movement.
I'm
It was true. It was a
surprised by
popular
the
support.
people who care about Imran Khan.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, my problem is they have not done anything. That means they don't care enough. They're sitting in
they
their
died
house.
right now recently.
Yeah, but
They go up, they die, and
Not-
every time
not
you call,
enough yet. I
not
agree with
enough.
them.
You see,
I agree.
If Bangladeshis had a problem, they revolted, they died, and they finished their job, right?
You have to clarify something though. Sometimes people come out in masses. It's not necessary that Pakistanis didn't come out in droves like it happened in Bangladesh. But in Bangladesh, the army did a coup. Over here, our army
agree.
didn't do a coup. It's the army that matters.
Army already rules.
And here's another example.
Army
In
matters,
Egypt, you
you're
had
right.
one revolution happen, and the army supported. Sisi came, he supported the revolution, and there was a coup. Next time people came out against Sisi, there was no change because the army was solid.
It's not that easy.
In Pakistan,
In
the army is
Pakistani,
solid.
in
There is a difference. I
Pakistan,
agree
you
with that.
have to
coming out
team
in
up with
Karachi,
the,
they come out everywhere and they get killed.
It's not that easy. It's easy to say and hard to do this.
Yeah,
He's right. Going against a government meaning going against the army in Pakistan, which is very strong, regardless anything. Pakistani army is very strong.
So strong. I
Right,
don't think
so
anything
strong.
stronger. No Muslim army is stronger.
So
It's the strongest Muslim army.
it's strongest, and it's been a pain for the neighboring countries, right?
And for the people
including
right
all
now,
of them.
you know?
So
Yeah.
and the people themselves.
Yeah.
So everyone's struggling because of the army, but they can't fight them, so they can't. So the day they will, we'll find out who the people are actually for. Either they're for Afghanis or not. Right now, people.
But
don't
you
have
can
a
say
say.
this. Look, Imran Khan had enough popular support where they can't make him a martyr. They would have killed him ages ago. They would have hung him the way all the previous presidents. They hung them all. They killed them all.
I don't know if America's stopping them from killing them.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they haven't killed him. Honestly, I have no idea why.
You know what?
He'd be a
the
martyr.
thing is,
He'd be a
For me,
martyr.
only Allah is saving him, basically.
By
leaving
the
him alive.
time-
Of course, Allah saving you.
By
right?
No, but I honestly believe it is
not
not just Allah
yeah,
saving
the
him.
political strategy is
Nobody
not
else
clear
wants him
here.
saved.
But
yeah.
what is his age? Like he's almost
He's
77.
70 something, yeah.
Something 70 something. He's pretty old.
He's not gonna
what
be
I'm thinking,
able to change
he's
that
been-
much.
He's been in the prison for
72.
2 years now. By the time he comes out, he's probably even more weaker. And his supporters are even more weaker. I think that's what they're
And
trying to do.
biggest
They're
thing
waiting
is
it
he
out.
has
They're waiting it out. You know,
and also
they-
he has no successor. There's no post Imran Khan guy.
There is no.
You need to be you need to be like a Putin young, Erdogan young, who can rule for generations to bring about change.
But the thing is, Putin had control.
No. I'm saying. That's what I say. What I hope for Pakistan.
At the same
is-
age.
They're the same age.
The
Putin
sad
and Imran
thing,
Khan are the same
this
age.
is the sad.
What I hope for Pakistan is to get somebody like Putin, Erdogan, who could take over, move Pakistan in the right direction, but keep power for that long to actually make change.
Dude, Putin was born 2 days after Imran Khan. I know it's
But I
random as
think
frick, but
what
2 days.
Ahmad was saying was correct. Is Imran Khan did not play it smart as Erdogan did. When he had power, he had to be a politician, not just a Jazbati figure for Pakistanis and Muslims. He came out too hard, too early. First conference in UN, he's going against Israel, claiming out loud.
He said to relax.
He visits Russia when he maybe
he
should
visits
have.
Russia. He comes. He did everything that we wanted him to do.
But that's not-
the common people.
Yes.
But he's not a common person. He
Yeah,
needs
the
to be
elite.
a
You gotta please
politician.
the elite. And
You
also,
know-
Sami
I
Hamdi was
agree.
saying, Sami Hamdi's like, all the Saudis, the Khalid, like, UAE, all of them were just like, relax, Imran Khan, relax. We
No,
understand.
He
but
makes
just relax.
he makes Namal University, which is all Islamic. He calls Yasser Qadi. He calls
was pretty crazy.
Razak. He does all this in 2 years.
He
You know-
comes and destroys my grandfather's wall.
Yeah, he did.
I'm fine with that
For
because that was.
non-Pakistanis, he
That's the
cleared
army
the streets.
But that was under his regime. Like,
No,
that was his policy.
That was cantonment,
that was his
right?
policy.
You guys are getting it all wrong. That area is all.
Army.
We live in
We live in
CMMH.
cantonment.
That has nothing to do with the city.
We live in the army
It has.
area.
This is cantonment. We live in cantonment area. By the way, we pay lease to the army. Has nothing to do
We
Yeah,
don't
with
even
but-
own the land. We lease
No,
the
but
land.
I thought
basically,
it
right?
was again they were coming and going back with the law. Hey, you guys broke the law. You guys should not have built this wall.
No, I'll tell you the reality is the corrupt army officers trying to get more and more bribe every year. And the day you stop giving them the bribe, they break down the wall. So this is
Oh, that's what
corruption
happened.
in the
Okay.
army of
I
Pakistan.
thought it was justice.
If it was, if
Even
it-
the
if-
justice is
I'll tell you,
corruption.
if it was political, we will never break down the wall and pay enough to sustain. Because they always have a bargain. Politicians can be bought out. Army people can never be bought out. They have their price. Either you pay or leave. That's it. They never negotiate. No negotiation.
Okay, well, whatever.
But
I mean,
who knows?
that
Unfortunate.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
that wall's
no
gone.
more
But
wall.
But no, you're right. That's the situation with them. And, inshallah, we'll have someone there. But right now, there's no-
What I firmly feel like now the strength, if Afghanistan becomes stronger, who knows, takes over Pakistan or maybe
over Pakistan.
combines with Pakistan somehow, makes an alliance with Pakistan and
I think
the whole-
alliances. I could see alliances.
Alliances.
Yeah, I could see this right, where it's like the United States.
Yeah.
How about we do strong alliances, like strong alliances where like we form pacts? I think that could happen. This whole combination thing, that was like a thing of
Well, actually, Imran Khan
of
tried
my
to do it.
love
Imran
too,
Khan was like, the OIC is too weak. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation is too weak. I'm going to create a new one. It was Malaysia, I think it's like Qatar, it's like 5 countries. And then the Saudis said, if you go there, we're going to cut all your money.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
he did a lot in 2 years.
Yeah.
He did a lot. Bhutto did the same thing. If you go back and read this history, well, I don't know how much reality we've read from the books again, but he did the same thing. He did all Islamic SARS. He did the first SARS, which is all Muslim countries. He's the one who brought it, but he reigned 10 years. Bhutto's reign was 10 years. Ultimately, army hung him.
Yeah.
Army from US, XYZ, who knows?
I mean, Bhutto did a lot of bad, but
But-
internationally, he did the 73 oil embargo.
and then,
he was involved in
and
that.
then what he did? He went to the UN and tear up the. You see,
charter? Oh, I haven't
he
seen
tore
Epic
the
scene.
epic scene. That's why he died. You know that jazbatiness never works in real world. But
it-
you see, Urtugan, you will not put a word from him.
You know,
today
the beauty is.
saying anything against America or against anything.
He has good speeches.
I'll tell you.
Very careful,
When the
very, very
Ummah
careful.
doesn't know whether he's a good or he's faking good, he's a good
He's a
politician.
good politician because he's making us happy and he's making his opponents happy.
because no doubt everybody thinks he's doing good. Now is he faking it? Now that's a good politician. Like even the Ummah doesn't know what his true intentions are.
But the same thing goes with this Canadian dude, right? Well, Trudeau.
No, that guy's an idiot.
No, but initially when he came, if you remember, when he came, everyone was so happy. They were saying, "Oh, Imran,
tree hugger,
right?
Kyber.
Imran Khan."
He is. He's a tree hugger.
Yeah,
He's yeah.
exactly. He said-
Kumbaya,
no,
love everybody.
He said Imran Khan in Pakistan and Urtugan in Turkey, and then we have Trudeau in Canada. He's
said
so.
this?
Oh yeah, it was all over
No,
the
who
place.
was saying this?
And Trump in America, by the way, they're saying they're all pro-Muslims, and they're all for the
pro-Muslim?
right wing. And you see the next thing you see from this guy is he's like, yeah, tree hugger. He loves everybody, everyone.
does.
You can
He
do
does like
anything.
Trump, but you know.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Because
like-
he's a tree hugger.
But Trudeau's one of those
Trump
things,
is a tree
it's
cutter.
It's Eid time.
Yeah.
Happy Eid.
Yeah.
All our Muslim brethren across the nation will be starting their fast tomorrow morning. And then it's Ramadan Kareem,
He's a
Eid
simp.
Mubarak. Yeah.
He is. He goes to the masjid for
He
every
was simping
Ramadan,
for votes.
everything. Every Eid he goes.
He has no backbone.
Yeah, like,
of
so
what
basically,
he
yeah,
believes in.
he was just, that all sounds nice. It's kumbaya.
it's
But at the
terrible.
end of the day, yeah, he's...
It's almost like Obama.
You know, the funny thing is we were discussing this. Me and
Obama's the
Ahmed.
best. There's
Me and
no
Ahmed were
better
discussing
at
this.
Politicking.
No, something about like the conservatives versus liberals. I think we'll just end on this, but the liberals, right? The liberals love us publicly. You go on Reddit where they all live and they hate Muslims so much. Why? Because the liberals love everything, but they hate
They
morality.
hate our morals.
They hate our morals, right?
Liberals
So-
want us.
So when
they like a certain version of Islam. They like us as a victim minority.
They
They
love
don't like
victim,
us with
right?
our actual values. They hate it.
They hate about because if you go to Reddit where they actually all the liberals live, they hate Islam.
They're the least open-minded, by the way.
No, because they hate.
This is known.
They hate
Liberals
they
are the
hate
least
morality,
open-minded. The
right?
left,
Because they don't
hardcore left.
understand.
But
you know?
the beauty about the right is, the right does have a morality. They just hate our morality,
Yeah,
which
fair
is
enough.
fine. I understand that you have your morality and you just hate ours. The liberals hate morals.
They hate morals.
So,
whether
so
it's
therefore
Christian or Muslim.
they
If
just
you
hate
bring them anything objective, they don't like it.
the
So they
objective
love
morality. No,
Islamophobia. They love Islamophobia, talking about Islamophobia because now it's like, oh, we're one of these categories. You shouldn't be against women. You shouldn't be against, or don't be against Muslims.
as long as we're
It's a
minority, we're
category.
fine, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, I think
a good
we're
point to
over
end
1
on.
hour.
I think, yeah, that was pretty good.
Inshallah, next
Alhamdulillah.
time our Sohaib, he'll be back and then he'll be discussing with.
We'll have
He had
the
a meeting with the
facts.
family of Syrian family who has a lot of people in Syria. So we'll get more.
Maybe
facts
we
and
can even do
stuff.
earlier. If it's pressing enough, maybe we can have another meeting in a couple
smaller
of days.
podcast, yeah.
Smaller, a
More
short
news
meeting,
anyways, so.
and we can just talk about what
We'll have
what
the
his
person with the
experience was,
facts
speaking
and
to Syrian
figures and all the numbers.
the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, we missed them this time, but
You'll have all the
inshallah,
boring stuff.
I didn't
right,
say
well-
MAGA enough this time, so MAGA.
you got last time. Anyway, jazakumullah khair for listening, everybody. This is the end of
Assalamu
episode
alaikum
8
wa
now.
rahmatullah.
Like and
Inshallah,
subscribe.
you like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Hit that notification bell.
Yeah.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.